Welcome to POPX Cast, a podcast that brings together the worlds of pop culture and science fiction in a way that breathes life into our inner child. From nostalgia to all things retro, pop culture news, film reviews, and the retro rewind, we explore all realms of geeky goodness. So find your comfy spot, top off your glass, and don't forget those pizza rolls in the air fryer because it's time for POPX Cast. You are listening to POPX Cast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
POPX Cast.
Here we go!
POPX Cast. I was born in it, molded by it. POPX Cast. No strings on me. Autobots, transform! I'm Batman. By the power of Grayskull! POPX Cast. We're doomed.
Goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Here's Johnny. Never had a pet pony.
Hasta la vista, baby. POPX Cast.
Captain's log supplemental.
Negasonic Teenage. What the
I am the one who knocks.
Excelsior!
And Excelsior, welcome guys. This is POPX Cast, episode 140.
What?
140?
What? Didn't we just celebrate like 100
Dear
yesterday?
goodness, we're getting old.
I feel old.
I actually, yeah, I kind of agree with you on that
kind
one.
of feel that.
I'm sure that this young spry lad down here below us is not feeling that old. Austin, how are you feeling today?
I don't know, man. I watch so many things, like my eyes are slowly getting worse and worse. I am starting to feel old. Is that bad?
His brain is melting.
It's bad. It's good. Like, I'm going to have to change my prescription because my eyes are going out. No joke. So like my body is withering away. Tried to play Frisbee the other day. My knee is shot. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, man. Wait till you hit 40. Wait till you hit 42, bro. Wait till you hit 42.
Totally
it's not
That's not good.
It's not
It's
fun.
bad.
It's not a good bed of roses for anybody.
Speaking we're
of
breaking down.
I know, man. We're getting old, but you know what? We're continuing on with the nerds, and it's good to be a nerd as a 42-year-old. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. But man, the chat room is hopping right now. I want to give some shout outs right at the top of the show. Look at this. We got I Talk Marvel. John Poffenbarger's in the house. Alicia's in here. We've got The View with Drew. The View with Drew. I got S.J. McFly, our neighbor next door. Hello, Shane. How are you doing?
Hi, neighbor.
Won't you be my neighbor? Man, so this is going to be a great show. I'm not even going to do any formalities. We have got a lot of material now. We're going to be talking about origin stories today. If you're not familiar with this is something that POPX did when Austin first joined the team as POPX Cast. We would break down as these series were coming out on back then Netflix and stuff like that. We would unpack these characters, these people in the Marvel world, and give you a little bit of a heads up a week or two before the character dropped, either in the cinema or on the series of the streaming platform that you were watching it on. We're bringing it back. Origin Stories returns, episode 140 tonight. Moon Knight is coming up tonight. If you've never seen an origin story on POPX, go back to some of our 60s and 50s, right around 40s, 50s, and 60s episode numbers, and you'll see kind of what we did back in the day. This is going to fall under origin stories.
Man, we did so many good ones.
We did.
Wonder Woman.
We did Wonder Woman.
The Celestials.
Celestials, long before the Eternals came out. Yeah, it was great. We even did all the many shades of the Incredible Hulk and explained why Hulk has all the.
Remember that too.
That was a fun one.
the contrast between the Thing and Man Thing.
We did.
well.
We
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Swamp Thing and Man Thing. That's
Yeah,
right.
the Swamp Thing and Man
Yeah.
Thing. Yes.
So good. But Austin Burke, go ahead, man. Get this thing kicked off. Let's start episode 140. Dive in.
I think one of the good things about the origins too is they age very well, right? A lot of this stuff is topical that we talk about.
Yes.
but
Right.
You can come back to this Moon Knight episode 4 years from now
And it'll.
and be just as impacted. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
So
exactly.
That's one of the great things. But welcome to POPX, where science fiction meets pop culture. I'm Austin Burke, the Appalachian geek at heart. We'd like to welcome everyone joining us live in the POPX.live chat room. Hang out with us. Join the conversation at popxcast.com. If this is your first time tuning in, for the first 10 to 15 minutes, we run down the headlines since our last show, and then we deep dive into all things nostalgic on the retro rewind. Then at the halfway point, we hit on the show's topic. And today, and probably the next time you see us too, but in television version, we're talking Moon Knight, and I can't wait.
Lindsay Badger, you are chuckling over there. What is going on?
Joe,
Yes, ma'am.
are you Austin's dad?
Dad?
I don't know. I don't.
Someone in the chat wants to know if you're Austin's
Joseph.
Dad?
I'm sorry. That just
Is
killed
Joseph
me.
your dad, Austin?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Why, yes,
sometimes
yes, I
we
am.
call him Daddy.
I am your father, and you came for my
I'm
loins.
sorry, but that just
That is
tickled me
awkward.
in just the right way.
No, we're cousins. We're first cousins. Our daddies are brothers.
Yeah, they are. See, there you go.
So that's
There's the
how that
connection.
works. But I would like to say that I had a small little snippet of helping Austin explore the geek side of him as a kid.
Small,
Well, I'm being
large.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I have got to continue on with this show. Oh my God, you guys have
Sorry.
just derailed me. What's up, Shanae? How you doing in the chat room?
Good to have you, Sinead.
Thanks,
Welcome in.
Shanae.
So good to see you, Shanae.
So moving on here, Daddy, you my daddy. I am
Daddy.
Joseph Burke, Central Florida's seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast, and founder of POPX Cast. Now, I want to say that we have a really cool group of creatives called the Creative Multiverse. You see the logo over on the right-hand side with the little sun in the Creative Multiverse. You see that QR code down below? If you scan that QR code, you can come and join our Discord channel. A lot of times throughout the week, a lot of my artists like myself and Lindsay and other great people from the Creative Multiverse are live streaming. We're in there on the Discord channel, either in audio or video. You can come hang with us, talk with us in real time. We usually will stream on Twitch, but we hang in Discord and then we talk while we're streaming. So it's kind of cool. Come join us on the Creative Multiverse. It is a hodgepodge. You don't have to be an artist to join. You can just enjoy everybody else's artwork, which is kind of cool.
It's true.
So come join us. And the Creative Multiverse.
In the creative multiverse.
Multiverse.
Hey guys, I'm Lindsay Badger, your favorite geeky okie, also the wrangler of the Burks on this show, but I don't do a good job of it, and I am not related to either one of them.
Mom?
No.
Aw.
Okay, maybe unofficial sister.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
accept
take
that. All right. So if you guys missed our last episode, which was number 139, we did break down the great movie that just released called The Batman. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Small
but
movie.
We talked about it.
Small movie.
Broke it down. It was really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Also, on our retro rewind for that episode, we discussed Flight of the Navigator, which was quite a nice little treat.
It was.
Make sure you go over to our official website, popxcast.com, to go check out the replay of that and all the other good shows that are in the archive.
Of
It's
geeky
good stuff.
goodness. That's exactly
Of
right.
geeky goodness. That's right.
Goodness.
John, I will be your daddy. I will be your daddy, John Poffenbarger. I want you to know that.
Yes.
Oh my God! You know
All
what?
right, friends.
The funny thing, our audio people are going to be listening to this on the replay, not seeing the video.
gosh.
They're going to be like, "What are they talking about?
I don't know what's happening.
What is going on?" Listen,
We
audio
love you, podcast friends.
audio podcast friends, you have got to come over, watch the live stream on YouTube of episode 140, and then somehow in your collective conscience, everything may click together. But who is your favorite actor playing a superhero? Lindsay Badger. Look at you. You're getting some cues up in here, girl.
Oh.
Okay. Go ahead and answer it. Think about it for a minute.
Can I marinate that?
You can.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a minute. Okay, let me finish
Put
this.
some
though.
KC
While-
Masterpiece on.
While I'm thinking about it, I need the chat to do me a favor and go hit that thumbs up button right now.
Please.
And while you're right
Please.
there next to that button, there's a share button as well. I want you to click that. And if you haven't hit the bell or the subscribe or any of the other buttons, there's lots of buttons, click all of them. Just click them all. That would be super great. Podcast friends, I'm going to talk to you for a second. If you haven't yet given us a review, if you wouldn't want to click all 5 of those stars for us, maybe say something nice about the show, that would be super awesome too. We love you a long time for it. All right, so
It's true. We love you a long time.
You do.
I'm
That
going
is-
to pull, you guys, I love the good looking ones, okay? And I know they cast the good looking
She's
ones
going
for
with
a reason.
Hemsworth. She's going with Chris Hemsworth. Or
I'm gonna
Momoa.
pull
Momoa.
Stephen Amell.
Oh.
Green Arrow. I just love
Interesting.
him as a person. I've followed him on social media, and he's just an all-around good person.
Okay.
And he's beautiful.
He is a good dude. Yeah,
So
just Stephen
I
Amell
would
is a good
say
dude.
that he's probably definitely top 5. I don't know if he's number 1, but he's definitely in a good collection of beautiful humans.
I feel what you're throwing out.
That's
There
good
you
pull.
go.
I feel it. Yeah, that's
like
good.
that pull.
That's
Yeah.
good. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and get into some news. We only got 4 segments for you this week on POPX News, but don't go anywhere. POPX Headlines is coming your way.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on popxcast.com.
Austin, you got to do it, bro.
Ugh,
I'm
we were
sorry.
having such a good time.
I know.
I was in the ballroom getting ready to go into the Critics' Choice Awards and watched a lot of these celebrities react to this news
Oh,
when it came on our
no.
phones. And it was a very quiet 20 minutes when we all got those notifications. So it was interesting to see how his actual peers responded to his death. It was very interesting. But starting out on a somber note, it's best known to us superhero fans as General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in Marvel's The Incredible Hulk, Captain America: Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War / Endgame, Black Widow. William Hurt has died just shy of his 72nd birthday. He also received an Oscar nomination for his role in the graphic novel adaptation A History of Violence. One of 4 nominations in his career. He won Best Actor for 1985's Kiss of the Spider-Woman, which, despite the title, is not a comics-related film. The actor revealed in 2018 that he had terminal prostate cancer and was taking an experimental treatment to minimize the side effects. This news was devastating, not only for all of the reasons that I'm sure you all will mention, but as comic fans, we were looking forward to way more of him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Red Hulk because we kind of knew that was coming.
Yeah.
You're
had-
losing, I
It
think.
was primed and ready for that to happen.
Yeah,
I
they were
believe
setting it
he-
up. So
I believe he
you're
filmed some
losing
scenes
that.
in She-Hulk, right? Didn't he film some stuff
Yes.
in that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in now. Now that this happened, though, they may cut out that storyline entirely. I would like if they left it in, but we'll have to see.
Man.
I've
That's,
seen them keep parts of it, but just keep it shorter than what they originally
You,
intended.
you know, I had a thought when this happened, and William Hurt is a phenomenal actor. I know him from 80s movies, not specifically as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. Okay. And I was thinking, I had a thought. I was like, what if they go back to the original Hulk and bring in that General Ross, which was,
Oh, that'd be fun.
do you remember who that was?
Who the actor was?
Yeah.
No.
The dude with the big mustache, you don't remember? He talks kind of like
Yeah. I can't remember his
dude,
name. though.
it's
I
like
can't remember his
right
name.
there. Maybe the chat can help me out. Crap.
But
Anyway,
he looks the part to a T.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
but what if with the multiverse,
Hey. Pull it in. Make it happen.
bring in another General Ross from that? Now, I don't want to discredit anything that William Hurt's done. He is literally his Civil War all the way back to the Incredible Hulk Humble Beginnings, 2008. I mean, geez, Louise, I can't. Yeah, sad news.
Yes. Very
And
sad.
it's fleeting me the name of the actor. I'm gonna have to do a no, and I'm gonna have to Google this. Hulk General. I know. I'm going to have to do it right here in real time because I want to make sure that the information that I'm conveying is accurate. That is none other than it even shows his picture, but it doesn't show the name of the actor. Are you serious? Hold on a minute. I got to do this. Let me just do this and we'll move on. Sam Elliott.
Oh yeah, it was Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Wow! Oh my God, he was unreal as the character. Now, granted, I think they were both incredible. I completely forgot that was Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott. There's two General Rosses. If Ang Lee's version is considered canon in the multiverse,
that's crazy. And Sam Elliott is getting, there was a little dead period, right? But he's coming back in a lot of these Yellowstone type westerns on Paramount Plus.
Oh, he's such a great actor.
Massive right now, man. He's massive.
But anyway, I'm no discredit to William Hurt. I was just thinking outside the box in the multiverse. What can happen? But anyway, Lindsay Badger.
Yes.
Tell us about what's coming this year.
Okay. Well, if we take a moment and reflect back on 1982,
good year.
The original Star Wars trilogy had yet to conclude, and Khan's wrath was making William Shatner scream on the screen, and the Masters of the Universe debuted in toy stores. At this time, there was no Filmation cartoon that existed to popularize the catchphrases like, I have the power.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't exist yet. So it was just the toy line that was combining all the sci-fi and the barbarian fantasy and making boys go wild and crazy over this stuff.
I did, yeah.
So 4 decades later, there is all of these pop culture phenomenon that re-brings all of this back to life. And they come up with new series of these cartoons. Well, boys and girls, they're going to come out with a new toy line to celebrate Mattel's 40th anniversary He-Man figure.
Cool.
Later this year.
Highly articulated. There's a picture of it on the screen right now. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's 10 inches tall. And they're going to do some backwash paint on the muscles to make the muscles be more defined as not just a plastic mold, but they're putting paint to show the definition of the muscle tone and the sculpt of the actual figure itself.
That's nice.
And it's going to be
better than the originals.
Right. Now, I don't know where this is going. It's going to be sold by Mattel. I don't know. I know Mattel has a contract with Walmart distribution. I don't know exactly where you're going to be able to find this just yet. This was just announced literally 3 days ago. But if you are a fan of He-Man, this is going to be a big figure.
It's going to be in the toy book this for the Christmas.
Yeah, you might want to get your wish book out.
Get it out. Get that
Sharpie.
Start
get your
Sharpie.
Circle what you want, and Santa Claus will bring it to you. All right. But it's going to be interesting. I definitely want to try to track this down because I know
Joe's going to try to get the castle so that he can have a battle.
I don't have any weird.
Castle.
No, I have the original castle.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the original Snake. You've seen it too.
Castle Grayskull.
I have Snake Mountain and Castle. I have nowhere to display them, but I'm just
I know exactly where it is in your closet. Too.
You do,
That's
yeah.
really weird because I've never been to your house. Anyways,
what is happening?
That's so strange.
All right, we're gonna move on here. All right, so good God, it's been a week for Marvel TV shows that's formerly called Netflix Home. But on Wednesday, guess what? Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, and Punisher joined Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as the latest additions to Disney+. Now, that puts the vast majority of Marvel's television series under the rooftop for the first time under the Disney umbrella. Now, however, it may also have been a prelude to a continuation of the Daredevil series, as we know. Now, the new issue of Production Weekly lists a Daredevil reboot among Marvel Studios' upcoming projects. Now, rumor outlets have essentially said the same thing since the show was canceled in 2018. This is different because Production Weekly is a Hollywood trade magazine and not a press outlet that speculates on rumor mills. And while the project is still unannounced, we don't know what it's going to be or what it's going to entail, its placement here suggests that Marvel already has a time frame in mind for the return of Matt Murdock and Charlie Cox.
Well, I have my parental controls updated on my Disney Plus.
I don't have parental controls on anything. I'm just going to let it.
It makes sense. I mean, we just saw he's showed up in Spider-Man, so it just makes sense that they're going to be bringing that back to life and making that a thing to really like rev it up for the next movie.
I'm excited. The reason I'm excited about this, I was worried about these shows coming to Disney in transition of being highly edited. I was worried about that.
Yeah.
Me too.
If you've not noticed this, I believe The Verge and comicbook.com did a side-by-side comparison of fight scenes. The most gruesome, R-rated, bloodiest gore scenes of this series and Punisher, nothing was edited.
Yay.
Awesome.
Nothing was edited.
Yeah.
What does that say for the new series in the reboot revival that's coming with Daredevil? They have a really great template to work with, and they're probably going to keep it rated R. So, fingers crossed. Let's go.
Yeah, that notification came through, and they were like, "Make sure you're okay with MA stuff." And I was like, "Bring on the MA, Disney. Let's go."
Junior sales in chat. He-Man versus Daredevil. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Man, that would be crazy.
I don't know if they've reported this yet. I don't know. Even if they haven't, it's not breaking news. This is just someone I know, so take it with a grain of salt. But I hear the whole cast is returning from the show.
Yes.
Everybody. Foggy, all of them. They're all coming back. Yeah.
Well,
such a good series.
That makes me happy.
That's just what I've heard.
That's
so,
good.
It's, grain of
Well,
salt.
Austin Burke, you have the last news segment of this show, so go for it.
Oh, maybe the best news of the
Maybe
night.
this might be the highlight, yeah.
This might be it. Star Wars The Mandalorian has become a key part of the sci-fi landscape over the past few years. And now it looks like Disney Plus will be adding a new icon from the genre to its cast. On Friday, The Hollywood Reporter revealed that Back to the Future star and oh my God, and Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, Christopher Lloyd will be joining Season 3 of The Mandalorian, which is currently filming in Southern California.
What is
While the
happening?
character Lloyd is playing is currently on wraps, the report describes it as a guest star role. It's unclear at this point how many episodes Lloyd could ultimately end up appearing in after several of The Mandalorian's guest starring characters have returned for later episodes. Guys, this casting is bomb. Dude, let's
So good.
go.
Dude, this Star Wars series that Jon Favreau was a part of over there at Disney and Lucasfilm, he's pulled in so many cameos.
It's such a good project.
Oh,
Yes.
it is
Just
so
all
good.
around.
Yeah. And I think that Jon Favreau, in a way, is paying homage to pop culture as a whole.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
everything that inspired him growing up as a kid. I mean, Doc Brown in the DeLorean. What 10-year-old kid was not blown away by that in 1985?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I was. So, I mean, hey, if Christopher Lloyd, he's still kicking butt. Man, he was in Nobody. I mean, the dude was wielding a shotgun in Nobody. Come on.
He was unreal. Like, I thought, okay, he's getting older. He's going to settle down. No.
No.
I see him
So
in Nobody.
good.
I'm like, the guy still has it physically.
Dude, he's hitting his prime.
Yeah, he's just now entering his prime. It's
I need
amazing.
to go back and watch Nobody again because I forgot how
Great.
good that
Oh,
was.
so
One
good.
of my favorites of that year.
My gosh, I just love that movie so much.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. Are you excited for Christopher Lloyd in Mandalorian Season 3? I mean, that's pretty... If you're excited, let us know in the chat. Leave a comment in the chat. And if you're watching this on replay, please do so. Type us an email. Send us something on Twitter. Let us know, because this is exciting that Doc Brown joins the Star Wars canon and becomes solidified. Now, he's in Star Trek.
Yeah.
He was... I mean, dude, he's in everything. Christopher Lloyd's amazing.
He played Rick in the Rick and Morty
He
commercial.
did.
Like, come on, man.
The live action.
That's crazy, dude.
So good. Oh, the Mandalorian.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Oh my God, dude. That is the best one of the night right there.
That was awesome.
He was in that promo for the Adam Project too.
Oh, yeah, he was, wasn't
The
he?
Mandalorian.
Isn't that...
Because
that's
it was about time travel, and they were like, "Who best to have this
so
promote
good.
this other than this guy?"
Mandalorian.
I'm so good.
incredible.
John
That's
Poffenbarger single-handedly
brilliant.
wrecking our show right now. love it.
John.
Oh man, we guys ready for some retro rewind?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, we were gonna
Rewind and rewind.
let's do it. All right, so don't go anywhere. We got some retro rewind coming your way. Got a great one here for you this week. I hope you guys dig this. This is going to be some Stand By Me. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Retro Rewind, and we are talking about one of the greatest movies to come out of 1986, and a movie that spoke to me on many levels as a kid growing up, and that is Stand By Me. So if you don't know, Stephen King wrote a series of short novels, not full, complete works of novels, but he wrote these short stories, and one of those short stories was a adaptation called The Body, and it basically centered around this group of kids finding this body on the railroad tracks. Essentially, is the premise of the movie, and them coming to terms with their own life after seeing their first ever dead body in out in the wild, you know. But then we have this adaptation, which just sprinkle. It goes to show you that Stephen King doesn't necessarily have to write horror film to have a good.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
He doesn't need to write horror all the time, and I remember watching this with Uncle Matt. And your father Tim, Austin. I remember watching this. They had rented the movie, and we were in not the house on Long Fork, the one before that, up on the mountain,
okay.
up on the mountain in Virgin.
Oh yeah,
and the one that had the fireplace. I don't know if you remember that house,
barely.
but yeah, I remember we were all in the room watching this together for the first time, and it was like 1987. I believe. It was just, I think about it and I look back and you know, I don't know how you guys feel about the film, but that memory of being there with my uncles as an 8-year-old kid watching this for the first time, it was pretty awesome. It's a great moment for me. So I want to go, usually I start with Lindsay. I want to start with Austin, then Lindsay this time. We'll see what, switch it up. Austin, what did you think about Stand By Me?
Yeah, this is one of the defining 80s movies for me. It's one that, you know, it hit me as a kid because obviously you're going to relate because it's about a bunch of kids, right? But it hit me as a kid because I could see pieces of myself in each of the main characters, whether that be kind of what they're dealing with, how they're responding to each other, what they're learning, the fear that comes through them after that event at the beginning. There's a lot about this group, the way that they come together, that you can relate to. Even, and I know it's an 80s movie, but you know, even myself growing up in the early 2000s, really, I mean, kind of like that, but early 2000s, there's so much that you go through as a kid that's just put on full display. So, you know, even though, you know, King is known for his horror, he's known for scares. This is one of the best coming of age stories ever. Like, not just ever, in the 80s. No, ever. It's that good and it's that well written. And I think just the choices all throughout them. That's what I got from rewatching this yesterday evening. I was watching and just almost analyzing it in a way that I was never able to as a kid. I'm like, and a lot of it is Rob Reiner, because I think Rob Reiner is amazing. Phenomenal. Especially when you look at that time, right? Maybe not as great now, but back in the day, man, just banger after banger after banger.
He had his finger on it for sure, the pulse.
Yes, yeah. But his directing style, the cinematography, Joe, that shot that you posted on your Instagram story is one of the most iconic and beautiful shots of the whole movie.
Yeah.
But then the cast, man, holy cow! You don't think about the cast. Like, the main one here for me is River Phoenix. Knowing that we never got to see him fully develop into that, and then kind of seeing shades of that in Joaquin nowadays, it's so sad. But when you go back and watch something like this, you're like, man, he was good. Not just he was a top tier talent at that age, but you combine all of those things into a Stephen King film that goes beyond being, really touching a horror movie, a little bit of that, but turns into something else entirely, man. I love this film.
Yeah.
I watched it as a kid, loved it. I watched it as an adult, and I'm able to analyze it and just see so many techniques in it, man. I think this movie's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, and you know, we want to talk about Richard Dreyfuss as well. His role in this movie as the father and the author, who is essentially narrating and telling the story and writing it on his computer while the story is unfolding.
Love the narration.
And we got a screenshot of Dreyfuss right there in front of his computer in Stand By Me talking. And for me, I want to go to Lindsay right after this. For me, it was that somber cello of Stand By Me, the symphonic version playing in the background that gave me chills, you know. Da, 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 da,
Yeah, beautiful.
da, da, da. It was just, I just, something about that song, Stand By Me. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
it's echoes in the annals of time. How amazing Lean On Me and Stand By Me are by far two of my favorite songs of all time. And but Lindsay, I want to get the female perspective. I want to shut up.
All right. Well, no, I'm kidding. Well,
Screw you guys.
this, I don't recall watching this. I don't know how I missed it,
Really?
but here's the thing. Whenever I was watching it, I had a lot of callbacks to other movies in this era. I mean, other than obviously you had a star-studded lineup of actors that,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're all so young that you almost didn't even recognize them. Like Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
Oh my
Will
God. I was
Wheaton.
like, are we sure this is the same kid? 'Cause I mean, he doesn't even look like the next generation Will Wheaton. He's
Yeah.
a baby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just placing them in the movies of their futures is just, you can see that that's where their power comes from. At such a young age, they're so good at what they do. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they continue to have such wonderful careers. But the tone of the story, the tone of the movie, that 1950s run around and your parents don't care where the heck you are until the sun goes down. And probably even after that, they don't care either, as long as you show up for dinner.
Yeah.
You know, that was basically the gist of how these kids lived, which was great because, you know, you have the tree houses and going to the candy store and buying all the junk. And, you know, the whole thing gave me Sandlot vibes.
Oh,
It gave
yeah.
me Goonies vibes.
Yes.
It gave me a little bit of Forrest Gump vibes.
That's
that
good.
whole feel of just good American story being told. And of course, I didn't even know it was Stephen King until I saw the credits at the end. Adapted
Crazy.
from blah, 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 Stephen King. Because, you know,
Yep.
I don't pay attention, clearly. So,
It's okay.
so I was just like, that's a Stephen King show, huh? It wasn't super scary, but I mean, obviously, yeah, there was like one body that was like kind of covered with some trees, but other than that, there was nothing. You know, we even had a little bit of Grease vibes in there with the car playing chicken with the truck on the road.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the, you know, the little greaser gang being, you know, causing trouble around town. and
Knocking
stuff.
mailboxes down.
Exactly. I just love that whole feel, and it really makes it, you go back to a time that doesn't exist
Pure.
anymore.
It was pure and
It's
innocent.
so pure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Lindsay, that just delights my heart to hear that you got the gist of the film, the heart of this film. You know, there was this one scene, I got to share this picture. I'm going to show you guys a picture right now on screen. This picture where River Phoenix is hugging Will Wheaton. And his character breaks down because he realizes he wants his brother back.
That broke my heart.
Dude, let me tell you something.
Oh my God, my dad hates
I watched
me.
this Friday night.
Oh my God.
I watched this Friday. And Austin, that's when you retweeted my story, and I watched this. I was sitting there literally in the house all by myself. Alex was still at work, and I was sitting there bawling like a baby. It just touched me so much, and the emotion that these kids at this age, especially River Phoenix, the maturity of such, what a beautiful soul River Phoenix was, and it sucks what happened to him. I mean, you know, it's a tragedy because I mean, River could have been one of those method actors like his brother.
Oh yes,
big time. But it's really sad, and it was emotional for me. You know, every time that scene comes up,
that moment.
It was just it pulls my heartstrings. So with all that said, guys, you know, I want to make sure that we allow. For me, the score was obviously beautifully accompanied. Practical effects, there really wasn't. Don't need it. Not for a story like this. It didn't need anything too crazy.
No.
The lard ass scene was amazing. I love it. You know, you're stepping into the mind of Will.
It's classic.
It was great. You know, he was becoming a writer, and he's trying to make this story up as he goes around the campfire, and so good, so classic. And it was just a blueberry puke massacre. It was awesome.
So bad.
Yeah.
But we gotta score this thing, and Austin, Lindsay, and myself. We'll go in that order. What do you rate Stand By Me?
Gosh, guys, I might be a little outlandish with this one, but I like this more than Goonies. This is my coming of age story. I'm going I'm gonna go 95 with my score.
Holy cow.
I think this is one of the best 80s movies of all time. I really do.
Wow, that's very high
I
praise.
really don't disagree with you, bro.
Yeah.
This might be one of the best child group adventure movies that we reviewed on POPX, aside from
And
the Goonies.
it holds up so freaking well, man. Like you're watching this in 2022 going, dude, it looks beautiful.
You know what's so crazy about that is that really, if you think about their adventure, there's a whole lot of railroad track.
Yeah.
A whole lot of railroad track. So I mean,
so simple.
you have the little river with the leeches. You have a run with a train that gets kind of scary on a bridge. But other than that, there's a whole lot of railroad track.
Yes. Yeah, no.
So it's amazing how high that storytelling power is.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the actors and
it's the cutscenes though too. Like, you know, we have John Cusack as Will Wheaton's brother in this.
Yes.
That's great.
And you know, a lot of people are like, I forgot Cusack was even in this film. But he's struggling because it's just 4 months after he died. Wasn't it 4 months after he died in this movie? I think something like that.
I think so.
And it's just
it wasn't
fresh.
very long.
It's fresh. You know,
Very.
got killed by a Jeep in an accident. That just is a fluke. Anyway,
Random
Austin,
accident.
95%. Lindsay Badger.
I'm going to go with an 8.2. It's pretty
Oh,
good.
that's awesome. Let's
Yeah.
go. I'm going to go with probably an 8.9 for me. This is up there with one of those films that I highly regard.
Good stuff.
I try to watch it at least once a year. I've already logged it 3 times on my Letterboxd.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, that's the way it is. That's how.
awesome.
What do you guys think of Stand By Me, 1986? It's Stephen King's adaptation of it, and you know, Rob Reiner's screenplay and adaptation of the novel. Obviously, with the score and just the child actors that they chose. Not to mention we have Kiefer Sutherland in here, which is amazing.
Yeah. Crazy.
But what do you guys rate it? Leave it in the chat right now. If you're watching on the live stream, let us know what your score is. You can do 8 point whatever. You can do 88%. It doesn't matter.
You can do 2.4% if you really didn't like it.
That's not good.
okay,
That would
too.
hurt. Yeah, we're going to we'll block you right now if you do that.
No, we
Anyway,
won't.
I'm just joking. No, I'm just teasing. But leave it in the comments. If you're listening on the audio podcast, be sure to let us know. Drop us a tweet on Twitter or on Instagram. Let us know what you thought about Stand By Me on the Retro Rewind on episode 140, okay? But with all that said, are you guys ready for some origin stories?
Let's unpack it.
Okay. Well, man, this is going to be great because I have no intro at all for
That's okay.
I have no audio soundbite for an origin story. All right, here we go.
Origin story, starting now, Moon Knight.
There, how's that?
There it
that,
is.
is that
I
good?
loved that. That was
Okay,
great.
yeah.
And clip and keep.
And keep. All right. So if you're not familiar with how we do origin stories, there's a lot of dialogue involved. So hopefully you guys can hang with us for the duration of the next 20
script-heavy, but
minutes.
it's good.
It is script heavy, but you're going to notice some names in this script as we're each of us are doing and spending time on a certain section of Moon Knight's origin story. Be sure to listen for key names that you're going to listen for and see in the series.
Yep.
Specifically, you're going to hear a lot about the Bushman. You're going to hear a lot about Khonshu. You're going to hear a lot of these, and we're going to help you kind of give you a little bit of the backstory. So when you go and see this series launch, literally in 10 days from today's date, you're going to be like, oh, I remember what they said about on POPX. I know what the Bushman is.
Get out your textbooks and turn to page 42
Yep,
and get your notebook and pencil sharpened. We are about to go to school.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to do this. And the beautiful thing is this is going to be live streamed, so you can always come back. And I will tell you this much, guys. I do own the latest edition of the Marvel Encyclopedia. It's a book about that thick. You can find it on Amazon. It's about $125 if you find the latest version of it. But I did pull a lot of this information directly from the Marvel Universe Encyclopedia. I want everything to be as accurate and as current as possible, so that's where a lot of this information came from. Some of the side stories and stuff came from the Marvel Fan Wiki. I want to give credit to those guys as well, specifically on some of the things in the latter part of today's shows. The abilities and powers, and then trivia is where that part came from as well. But we're going to break it down into sections. We're going to have Moon Knight origin story. We're going to have early life. All right, so you're going to learn his mercenary life because he was in the military. Becoming Moon Knight is going to be section 4, and then section 5, personality, section 6, abilities and power. So you're going to have all of this tonight before we end the stream. Without further ado, I'm going to get you started. You guys ready for this? Some Moon Knight origin stories dropping to you now. Marc Spector, that's the name. That's him. Better known as the vigilante Moon Knight, was once a mercenary left for dead in the desert, where he was revived by the moon god Khonshu. Now, appointed as Khonshu's fist and high priest, Moon Knight enacts justice to protect those who travel at night. Now, Mark also has dissociative identity disorder. Some of his alters being millionaire Steve Grant, alter ego, it's still the same dude, and cab driver Jake Lockley. Interesting. So we are dealing with a guy here who has many lives. In the beginning of his career, Mark fought crime on the streets with the help of a network of informants, including his best friend Frenchie, who is Frenchie Duchamp, and a homeless Bertrand Crawley, I believe as a diner owner, and Jenna Landers. So those are 3 names that you now definitely want to remember for sure. Since the early days, Mark has mostly worked alone, but he's also been a member of a few superhero teams, including West Coast Avengers, the Secret Avengers, and the Heroes for Hire. If you don't remember that, Heroes for Hire was also Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Daredevil. So we're talking about some Hell's Kitchen love in here. Recently, Mark discovered that he had a daughter named Beatrice with his longtime lover, Marlene Alron. But when Khonshu sensed Mephisto's plans for world domination, Mark left her to fight his gods side by side to prevent that from coming true. So he's literally fighting for the gods here. He's fighting on behalf of the gods. When Khonshu succumbed to madness, however, Mark had to turn against him and help the Avengers defeat him, the own god that's inhabiting him. Following Khonshu's imprisonment, Spector established the Midnight Mission. The Midnight Mission is a group of elite people that are kind of like the Defenders, but under the Moonlight wing, to offer his help to any night dweller, that's a cool word, who might need his assistance. Now, Lindsay Badger is going to give us some early life.
That's right. Chat's already like, Mephisto! It's a thing.
Mephisto!
Mephisto has returned. Yes, it's
all
a
Mephisto.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
All right, so we're going to break down the early life. Marc Spector was born in Chicago, Illinois, and he was the son of a rabbi who, as a child, had managed to escape from the Nazi persecution after Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Mark grew up on the poor side of the city where his father, Elias, was the target of discrimination. Mark couldn't understand why his father wouldn't ever fight back against the persecution. And he grew up with his younger brother, Randall, and his father would walk his kids to school every day. But him being a rabbi caused Randall to be bullied. But Mark was there to defend him. His father was very disappointed with the boys' violent nature and their obsession with war, and he believed that he should concentrate on their education. But his wife dismissed this as just boys being boys. During the last years of their childhood, Mark discovered by chance that a close friend of his family, Rabbi Yitz Perlman, was in reality a Nazi deserter and secretly a serial killer of Jews named Ernst. Mark's fighting instinct kicked off for the first time when he fended off against Perlman to escape his grasp. Perlman later disappeared without a trace. This traumatic event also caused Mark to develop a dissociative identity disorder. The first alters developed by Mark were Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley. Shortly after, Elias decided to intern Mark at the Putman Psychiatric Hospital. Well, that's
convenient.
Yeah.
Mark was approached for the first time by an Egyptian deity, Khonshu, claiming to be Mark's true progenitor. After his father's death, Mark was allowed to leave the hospital temporarily to attend the funeral and a late luncheon, but after hearing Khonshu's voice, he ran away. After his death, Mark resented his father, believing that Elias was embarrassed by him.
Interesting.
So he has daddy issues.
So his daddy, his daddy was a very religious man.
Yes.
And so he's raised a Jew. And so he just got he's pulled in a lot of directions. And at a very early age, as Lindsay was saying, war and fighting, even with his siblings and family, was just always
violent nature person.
And we all know that is definitely the construction and construct of a very great superhero story. So Austin Burke gets the joy of giving us a little bit about his mercenary life here.
Well, it's already crazy too, because Lindsay, what you said about Khonshu, it reminds me of the scene we saw in the first trailer where it looks like Khonshu is approaching him for the first time. That may be pulling straight from the comic books.
I believe it is. I believe it is. Yeah. That's why we're doing this, because these names you're hearing, Jake Lockley.
Imagine that. You having a kid, you being a kid and having some weird voice talk to you.
Yeah.
That would scare the crap out of me.
We very well could see him as a kid being torn from his country.
Oh my God.
Coming to America and hearing this voice. Lindsay, I mean, you just described it perfectly.
Yep.
So,
all right.
So,
mercenary life, another interesting aspect to his story. Mark enlisted in the Marines and served for 3 years. So we know there is a special set of skills in there somewhere. On his second tour in Iraq, his superiors caught notice of Mark's bizarre behavior. After his past was dug up, Mark was dishonorably discharged. Okay, there's a notch in his past for later. He later joined the CIA and worked with several people who would later interact with Moon Knight, including William Cross, Amos Lardner, and his brother, Randall Spector. Now, let's talk about the kids really quick. Randall, at one point, killed Spector's girlfriend, Lisa, with a hatchet.
Oh my
keep
God.
her from exposing a gun-running scheme. Spector retaliated with a grenade and assumed Randall was dead. So those boys getting into trouble again. Let me tell you.
Those boys will be boys.
Before you continue on to the next paragraph, who do we know Ethan Hawke is playing? Do we know the character he's playing?
We know he's a cult leader. That's all I know personally.
What if he's playing Randall?
Oh my God.
Okay, anyway, go ahead. Continue on.
Wow, Joe, you're blowing my mind over here.
You're speculating the Spectre.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love this. Once he left the CIA, Spector enrolled in illegal fights where he befriended Frenchie Duchamp, and both became soldiers for hire. Okay, you got a little superhero team-up sort of prior to being a superhero. That's pretty cool. They took on several assignments, mainly in Africa and South America. Spector later went to trial for assassinating the president of Bosque Verde, a South American country. So, in the words of Loki, he has a little bit of red on his ledger going in.
Yes, he does.
Just
a little bit.
Just splattered everywhere.
Just a lot. After Spector and Frenchie met Raoul Bushman in Egypt, they traveled to North Sudan near the Egyptian border for a raid on an archaeological site where Bushman killed the lead archaeologist, Peter Alron, to find an Egyptian pharaoh's tomb. Oh, we're getting closer.
We go.
We're getting closer. Spector punched Bushman to protect Alron's daughter, Marlene. Furious, Bushman mortally wounded him in the desert, killing everyone in the place except for Marlene, Frenchie, and a villager willing to tell him the secrets of the tomb. Spector managed to reach the tomb before he collapsed, and Marlene and the crew laid him beneath an idol of, here it comes again, Khonshu. His spirit had an encounter with Khonshu, who promised to save his life in exchange for his service. Okay? So that's when Spector agreed, although he He later considered this encounter a hallucination, so he didn't know whether it was real or not. He just knows that he agreed to somebody. May have been himself. Restored to life, he punished Bushman's men while Bushman himself escaped. So there is your true origin.
That's
of
the meat and potatoes right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, if you guys are watching the stream right now, I dug up this really cool panel. It's on the stream. And
that looks cool.
Moon Knight is talking to Frank Castle. And I'm going to read this before I read my section. Hello, Mark. Are you still crazy? Moon Knight. Little bit. Are you still murdering people? Little bit. How's your imaginary god? He's good. How's your dead family?
Oh, my God.
That'll give you a little idea of what you're dealing with here. All right, so that's savage.
Well,
savagery.
It'll be crazy.
Yeah, all right, so becoming Moon Knight. All right, so having finally found a purpose in life, Spector applied himself fully. He moved to New York and with Frenchie and Marlene, now his lover Marlene, and developed the costume, the equipment, and persona of Moon Knight. With a fortune made from gambling, in addition to supporting his new career of fighting crime, he began using his Stephen Grant persona as a financier and Jake Lockley as a cab driver whose purpose was to gather information at the street level. So he's not crazy. He's crazy, but he's not crazy because he's got different people doing different things, and he's literally got his finger on the pulse of the entire city, from wealth and fame to a lowly cab driver, if that makes sense. Anyway, moving along here. Where am I at? All right, so Stephen Grant persona and the financier Jake Cab. His original persona, with its multiple facets, faded kind of into the background. Marc Spector kind of faded away. He lost touch with reality, in a sense. Still leading four separate lives, put great mental stress on Spector. Lockley developed a network of informants, including the homeless Bertrand Crawley, diner owner Jenna Landers, and her two sons, Ricky and Ray. Now, Spector's first major job as Moon Knight came when the committee hired him to capture a werewolf named Jack Russell. He succeeded in a large part thanks to the silver crest that he was equipped with that's on his chest. There's a crest emblem that's on his chest, and he can actually remove it. So if you see the promo images, Moon Knight is holding, and it's kind of a down angle, he's holding this half-mooned kind of, it's like a boomerang type thing, if you will. So he succeeded in large part thanks to the silver crest that he had. And however, he learned that the committee planned to turn Russell's sister into another werewolf and use them both as weapons. Now, he did the honorable thing and switched sides. Spector and Russell shut down the committee. Now, Spector faced, now you can kind of see there's going to be some Blade vibes into this.
Yes.
Got to let you know that, right? Okay. So Blade and Moon Knight has had many run-ins. Just kind of setting. Spector faced Conquer Lord on his own before briefly joining the Defenders the Defenders. There you go, Heroes for Hire, and a life model decoy version of the Zodiac. All right. So the first skeleton from Spector's closet to bedevil, from whom Spector rescued, was the Thing. We're talking about the Thing from Fantastic Four. Okay, we're talking about him. He met Spider-Man for the first time when they teamed up against the masked Marauder, who at the time called himself the Big M and employed the original Cyclone. Moon Knight had reached the big time and encountered supervillains with more frequency. Very early on, he had faced a serial killer dubbed the Hatchet Man, who claimed to be his brother Randall.
That makes sense since he hatcheted Lisa.
It makes a lot of
Lisa.
sense since he cut his. Yeah, that's dark.
Yeah.
Poor Lisa.
That's
Poor Lisa.
That's dark. Lindsay Badger, what else you got for us here?
Well, let's continue this on here. Spector investigated the death of Amos Lardner when his body arrived in a crate on Spector's doorstep.
Wow.
How convenient.
That's
I
nice.
bet you it was 2 days shipping.
That's lovely.
He learned that Amos's brother James had become a test subject in a CIA experiment, one that Spector himself had participated in. And when Amos investigated, he was forced to undergo the same treatment and committed suicide as a result.
Ew.
Wow.
That's dark.
Spector faced other menaces, some superpowered, some insane, some simply ambitious, but all dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
He confronted the Slasher, a man slaying homeless people in an effort to find his father. Well, okay.
All right.
He tracked down Bushman and sent him to jail, but Bushman struck back by having Midnight Man, a more recent foe, destroy Spector's idol of Khonshu.
Oh.
Rude.
Right.
By this time, Spector was convinced that Khonshu had given him his powers and was as well as a focus in life. His precarious self-control broke down until Marlene produced another idol, which she claimed was the original. Oh, tricky.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's major foe, Morpheus, trigger word, turned out to be a patient of Dr. Peter Alrone. How would you say it? Alrone.
Yep.
Marlene's brother. And the idol of Khonshu sustained Spector again when he first encountered the Black Spector, who tried to terrorize people in supporting his bid for mayor. Nobody, including Dr. Alrune, believed Spector when he claimed that Knowles was the Black Spector, but Khonshu gave him the strength to prevail.
So, summary here, you can kind of see that there's some definite tie-ins. We're seeing a lot of stuff of Bushman. Bushman has already been cast as the series. The actor has already. You can go and
the big bad.
If you Google Moon Knight series actor list, you will find and you will see the roles that they're playing. Although now Ethan Hawke's role has not been mentioned, I kind of want to think that might be Randall.
He's gonna be Hatchet Man.
It would be cool if it was Randall. I'm just saying.
Would be.
It would be cool, but I don't know where that's going. But Randall is the Hatchet Man, so that's. Now, Austin, you're gonna finish up Lindsay's part, and you're gonna go into a little bit of personality as we're kind of bringing it home here.
Yeah.
On this.
Yeah. So we can hit on the origin just a bit more here. So we'll start out with a battle with the Fly that left Spector unable to walk, but he quickly recovered. To stop an ancient Egyptian curse, Spector briefly hosted the spirit of a priest of Khonshu. We got a lot of Khonshu within this origin story, which helped to integrate his personalities. But later, Spector suffered another serious mental breakdown and decided to abandon all of his alternate identities to settle down with Marlene. By reconciling with his father's legacy, though, he found a measure of peace and decided to retire from crime fighting.
There's always a woman.
Yeah. But I mean, just think of where they can go with this if the show keeps going, man. Oh, my God. So as part of his new life, Spector gave up his Grant identity and sold the idol at a gallery in Paris. He had a vision, however, telling him that the image is delivered up to evil. Call back to action as Moon Knight, of course, he returns. He learned that Marlene could no longer tolerate his schizophrenic behavior, so she left him.
Oh,
That sucks. In the Egyptian Valley of the Kings, Spector met 3 ancient priests of Khonshu, who told him that Khonshu had chosen him as an early champion and gave him new weapons. Only later did Spector realize that Khonshu himself was influencing him subconsciously. So that's a lot you're going to have to convey in this TV show.
That's a lot.
I'm telling you,
unpack.
it's mental. There's going to be a lot of mental illness in this show. I'm interested to see how well they convey the many personas.
That internal storyline is going to be very tricky.
It's going to be very tricky, but I think Marvel and Kevin Feige can definitely do it. Austin?
A little bit of James McAvoy's Split kind of comes to mind too. Maybe something
James,
along those
Split
lines would be interesting. So now we get into his personality, and this is really, I think, the highlight of what we need to know about this entire series, because it's all about his multiple personalities. Okay, Moon Knight can be best characterized by his relationship with Khonshu, of course, and whether that is derived from his own mental illness or from actual divine inspiration. So there's something that the audience is going to have to try to figure out as we go.
Yeah.
When Marc Spector first awakened at the foot of Khonshu's statue, it was ambiguous whether his survival was truly Khonshu's doing or if Spector merely attributed everything that had happened to the moon god. Later, stories introduced Khonshu as an undeniably real god, employing Moon Knight as his agent. Subsequent takes on Moon Knight, however, would attempt to walk back that revelation that Khonshu was real, once again questioning whether the drive to be the Moon Knight of Vengeance was all in his head in the first place. So essentially,
it's complex, bro.
Series,
it is complicated.
We have many runs with many comics saying many different things. One saying all of this is in his head. The other saying, oh, this is a god that is actually sending Moon Knight out to work. So which route will the series go? I think that's the most interesting part for me.
I think they need to simplify it. I think that the idol, they need to have the idol.
Sure.
They need to have the moon god, the Khonshu, and he needs to be sent out. And the voices, that portrayal of him as a kid hearing the voice, but then him dying in Egypt with the Bushmen, and them laying him at the foot of the Khonshu idol. I think that we need to see that.
The god.
That sounds like the origin story that we're all, kind of going towards. All right, so I'm going to continue on Austin's part of personality, and we're going to go into abilities and powers, and that's pretty much it on this. So presently, it seems as Marc Spector is both mentally ill and an agent of higher power, if you will. Khonshu does exist and has chosen Marc as his avatar, but Marc's mental illness sometimes causes him to experience conversations with a Khonshu that is only in his mind, not with the actual god. So he's hallucinating, schizophrenia there. There are also discrepancies over whether Marc Spector was already a schizophrenic or dissociative from an early age, making him a convenient host for Khonshu, because where he's mentally ill, well, we can just be basically a virus and attack his mind in a way. So, or if Khonshu has imposed his mental condition upon Marc, that's interesting. Did Khonshu cause this dissociative personality disorder? There's a lot of things to unpack here. And, Khonshu is a god of multiple facets, and Marc Spector has taken on multiple identities in the past in order to properly represent all aspects of this god. Now, this includes his original alter egos as Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley, and Moon Knight, and representations of Captain America, Wolverine, and he's even portrayed himself as Spider-Man in the comics. Communicating with him, or a recent set of identities and attire like Mr. Knight. The pictures you will see of Oscar Isaac without the Moon Knight attire, but he's in a white suit and a white mask, kind of doing this thing. That's Mr. Knight. That is another. So we will see Mr. Knight. We will see Oscar Isaac's Marc Spector. We will see Moon Knight. We will probably see Jake Lockley as the cab driver. We've seen, and we will probably see, who's the other one here? There's another, oh my God, there's so many. I can't even begin. Unlike most superheroes, Moon Knight is willing to brutally hurt and maim his opponents, and sometimes has even killed his enemies, as is seen by his ripping the face of Raul Bushman or carving crescent moons in his victims' foreheads.
Oh,
so, spoiler alert. Has even killed enemies, as in seen by ripping off the face of Bushman.
So he did.
So this is comics now. This is not the show. All right. So abilities and powers. We're going to unpack this, and then Lindsay is going to give you some trivia. Over the course of his life, he was a boxer. He was a U.S. Marine, mercenary, costume superhero. Marc Spector has become an expert at hand-to-hand combat techniques and various martial arts. Now, he is an Olympic-level athlete and skilled acrobat and gymnast, and excels as a combat strategist. His only weakness is brain damage and mental illness. His mind is his biggest enemy.
Wow.
Now, his laundry list of abilities include, but not limited to, the following. I hope you guys are sitting down for this. Take notes, all right? He's an expert pilot. He's an expert detective. He's an interrogation expert, master marksman sniper, weapons master, master of martial arts judo, eskrima, karate, muay thai, kung fu, krav maga, sila, dambe, savate, and pressure points. He can literally make you fall to your knees by hitting your shoulder in a pressure point. Multilingual. I think he speaks up to 5 languages. He's resistant to pain, insanity, torture, and can simply shut off his mind from all pain. It's just gone. He's also telepath resistant Having multiple personalities helps him thwart off mind control because he can just literally go to another realm, into another body, and be another person while he's being tortured at the same time.
Yes.
Strength, under the light of the full moon, Spector can lift easily 2 tons, according to the Marvel Encyclopedia. On a full night, on a full moon. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
So there's a little bit of a laundry list. That's some of his powers. So when the full moon is out and this dude's prowling, he's probably at his maximum strength and capacity.
Man, that's crazy.
Recorded Entertainment in the chat asks, is this going to be MCU canon?
We don't know what part of the that's the reason we're doing origin story. We're giving you the comic basis of Marc Spector.
Yeah.
And so when the show airs in 10 days from now, we can come back to this episode and be like, okay, they pulled from that. There's Bushman. There's this. There's Jake Lockley. There's Mr. Knight. We know kind of the gist, but Lindsay's got the fun part.
In just one quick little thing, in the past bits that we've just read to y'all, there's a lot of reference back to having relationships with the Defenders.
Right.
So if the Defenders are considered canon, I would think that this would tie in that way, which is kind of a roundabout way of doing it because it is still a series. It's not a movie. It's not going to be.
Just to tag onto that, Lindsay, the director of Moon Knight went on to say this week, I believe it was the last week, that currently Moon Knight is not associated with any of the MCU characters. This is an origin story. It's just literally, it's like a Tony Stark Iron Man origin story that we're getting. And so where he's going to go from the end of this series very well could end up for Heroes for Hire with Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
I think so.
It could very well go that route. And if it does, that's going to be awesome.
It's going to be crazy.
So, Lindsay, you got some cool nuggets for you.
A couple of trivia nuggets. So, the next time you go on trivia night, you'll have some ammo in your back pocket there.
Moon Knight knowledge.
All right, Moon Knight knowledge.
Here we go.
All right, so he is actually a non-practicing Jew. He likes to joke to other people that he is a pagan Christian compatible. That is his religion status.
That's good.
That's great.
Pagan Christian compatible.
That's good.
Every Hanukkah, Mark received a card from The Thing.
Ben Grimm sending him Hanukkah cards.
He's so nice.
That's
awesome.
Great.
Oh my gosh. He is combined with Spider-Man to become the Amalgamation Arachnite. Amalgamation Arachnite in the 2018 comic Infinity Wars.
Oh my
Think
God.
the Iron Spider, but with Moon Knight powers.
Ooh. That's not friendly neighborhood Spider-Man
No,
at all.
that's going to tear some stuff up right
At
there.
all. Spector has died twice between being he died between being resurrected by his buddy, the god Khonshu.
Sure.
So he's dead twice. So
He's been killed twice.
Okay.
In the comic book story arc Avengers versus X-Men, Moon Knight took the side of the Avengers. I remember you saying that. Instead of, because they were fighting his god, and his god went a little crazy.
got a little wacky.
Well, Khonshu crazy. All right. And in 1999, Moon Knight Volume 4 was nominated for Favorite Limited Series by the Comic Buyer's Guide Fan Award.
There you go.
So it must be good.
It's complex. It's a complex story.
Yes,
but
very dark.
So
very
that ends
horror.
it. So that's the end of Marc Spector's origin story, Moon Knight origin story. So all three of us here in the panel and all of the people in the chat, you're going to hear these familiar names, I'm sure, in the series to come. You're going to come back to this episode and you're going to be like, okay, they talked about that. They talked about...
Check the boxes.
Yeah, you got it. So I'm interested to see how much of this is going to be adapted to screen.
Yes.
So that's a beautiful thing about these origin stories. We don't know yet. So
I think that's one of the things I love the most about doing this series is being almost prepared
mentally
going in.
Yeah.
I feel like you get more out of it knowing that backstory a little bit better.
And Moon Knight is a lesser known character in the MCU, so he's not someone like Spider-Man or Banner or Stark. You're everybody knows that story.
Yeah.
But somebody specific like Moon Knight, and that's why we're here at POPX, and we're going to continue to do this. There's going to be characters coming out of Miss Marvel and things, and we have many more opportunities to unpack. We may even do a Morbius one. I'd love to do a Morbius one, but we'll see how that goes because I got to be out of town the week Morbius is going to be on screen. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I know. But if you guys enjoyed Origin Stories, we would love to know what you guys think. I know it's a little lengthy. There's a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of meat and potatoes in here that's going to help you guys. So when you go and you watch the show, you're going to definitely be in the know on a few things, and specifically names and identities and abilities for sure. So you're going to come back and you'll be like, I know that. Thank you, POPX. But if this is something you want to see in the future, please let us know. We were so excited to be able to put this together for you this week. And we're just, we can't wait for this series and Oscar Isaac's performance as Moon Knight. It's going to be truly awesome. And can't wait to unpack this series right here on POPX Cast as well. Any closing thoughts or anything, Austin or Lindsay, you have? Any questions about Marc Spector or Moon Knight or Disney Plus or whatever?
I just have to marinate on all this information.
It is a lot. Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they integrate this into the larger world, though. Do they focus on more of the street level heroes, or is this their way of bringing in Blade for the first time? Because those characters, they've interacted, right? We could get a Ghost Rider. We could get the return of John Bernthal's Punisher, man. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
But I do want to see a solid origin before any of that. So let's see what season 1 holds.
That's it. That's exactly right. Well said. Well, with all of that, guys, we're going to wrap this episode up. 140 has been a banger, man. It has been packed full of goodness. Austin Burke, if you would be so kind as go ahead and roll us out. We'll get this show wrapped up.
Sweet. Yeah. So many nerd nuggets in this episode.
Right.
I'm Austin Burke at the Burkinator. You can search and find me and hopefully talk in Moon Knight on my channel, but we're definitely going to talk about it more so on POPX Cast. We are part of the newly formed creative group known as the Creative Multiverse. For more great media, content, artwork, and more, find us on Facebook groups, and now, like we said, on the Discord at the Creative Multiverse. Scan that little code, get in that group. If you are a creative, produce content, or have a talent, we want to see it. We'd like for you guys to share it in the multiverse.
Absolutely.
PopX is also all over the social medias. You guys can find us pretty much anywhere that's popular. Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter. I bet you there's even like a MySpace out there somewhere because, Joe makes sure we're in all the good spots.
I'm there.
All those tags are going to be at PopXCast, and you can even send us an email if you want to, popxcast@gmail.com. And don't forget our website, popxcast.com, for all the future past shows and all the awesomeness that you want to know about us is all right there in one spot for you.
Yep. And Alicia, I want to be sure to highlight her comment over in the chat. She said, this is really, really cool. She's like, I didn't know anything about Moon Knight, so this was helpful. So
awesome.
Let's go, Alicia. Thank you so much.
Our job is done here.
Our job is done. If you are the only one tonight, Alicia, thank you for tuning in. But we know better than that. And so I'm still on Mandalorian. I can't get that out of my head. Thank you, Poffenbarger. And I am Joseph Burke, a.k.a. at Joseph Burke Arts on social media. Of course, hats off to always amazing, my team PopX, Lindsay Badger, Awesome Burke. You guys are literally the spine and bones of what we do here. But that's it for this episode 140 PopX Cast. We'll see you next time in 2 weeks on episode 141. We probably won't do a Sunday night show. We'll probably do a midweek show, like on a Wednesday night. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Morbius comes out March 31st, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
March 31st?
So, yeah.
So we'll probably have to do maybe like April the 5th or 6th, because I have to be out of town in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the weekend Morbius comes out. Woohoo! But I do want to make sure that we cover that episode and we cover that movie on PopX Cast. So we will schedule that. Probably tentatively looking, I'll look at my calendar right quick, probably looking at April the 6th will be our next show, which is about 2 weeks and 4 days out, okay? So from all of us here at PopX Cast, thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for being you. And you know what? We'll see you next time right here on the PopX Cast. We appreciate you guys so much, more than you know. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being a part of the PopX family. If you liked our show, please visit our YouTube page. Be sure to click subscribe and tap the notification bell so you'll know when we go live next. Visit our Discord channel by clicking the QR code on screen during our live stream, or simply visit bit.ly/Creative Multiverse. Connect with us on social media by using @PopXCast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.